No. Very good evening to all the viewers, and good morning to people in different parts of the world. Some have good afternoon, some have nearly about good night. So I welcome all the viewers of this webinar. I'm CA Manu Agarwal, Chairman, Digital Accounting and Assurance Board of the Chartered Accountants Institute in India. I welcome you all to this part 2 webinar of Virtual Office. Well, friends, virtual office is the term which we've given in view of COVID-19, where people are unable to go to their offices. So what we feel is that a chartered accountant should be able to keep on working. And this virtual office, we are basically talking of a remote office which can be used and controlled from outside his main office. Today, I have with me a very, very distinguished panel. I have with me the very honorable President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, C. Atul Gupta ji. I have the Vice President of our Institute, C. A. Nihal Jambusaria ji. I have the IFAC CFO, Russell Guthrie ji. I have the CMP Chair of IFAC, Monica Forrester ji. And I have my two esteemed council colleagues, the Vice Chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, C. A. Dayanivas Sharma ji. And with him, I have C. A. Aniket Talati ji, who is the Chair of the Digital Re-Engineering and Learning Hub of the Institute. Well, friends, Digital Competency and Maturity Model is a document which we created wherein we would be able to assess the readiness or the preparedness or the level of computerization of each small and medium practicing firm and the large firms in the country. This document was very well received, and the version 1 was adopted by various countries. Now we have brought up a version 2, which is with an implementation guide. Today we are going to launch a tool in a little while, which will enable those practitioners to judge the level of competency of their firm and to be able to improve it. Well, with this, I straight away move forward and invite the Honorable Vice President Nihal Jambusaria ji for his opening remarks.
As the case may be, Mr. Russell Guthrie, CFO and ED of External Affairs of IFAC, Ms. Monica Foster, Chair of the Small and Medium Practice Committee of IFAC, CA Manu Agarwal, Chairman, Digital Accounting and Assurance Standards Board, ICAI, CA Dayanivas Sharma, Vice Chairman of DAAB, and CA Aniket Talati, Chair of the Digital Learning Hub of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and all the viewers. Welcome to this very special session organized jointly by the Digital Accounting and Assurance Standards Board and the International Affairs Committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Let me at the outset compliment the two committees for coming out with something which is so necessary today. Virtual firms, as Manuji rightly mentioned, working from anywhere. How to ensure this, and together with this, DCMM, Digital Competency Maturity Model 2, is being launched today by the DAB. Let me speak first about this model which is being launched today, the second version of the model. In 2017, the Institute launched DCMM version 1. And this version became famous in the entire world. When I attended IFAC meeting this year and met a representative from EFA, Mr. Paulson, and who mentioned that DCMM is the creation of India. When we received it, we found it so useful and we are developing it further. Simultaneously, DAB is also developing it further. I went through both the models, the original version, where it only provides self-evaluation tools to practice firms. How much matured you are in terms of digital competency. These self-evaluation models are very common among the corporates, where they evaluate their employees and give first chance to employee to evaluate himself. The same concept I found in DCMM version 1, where I can check to what extent I am digitally competent, what is the maturity level of my firm. And DCMM 2, which the leaders of DAB, the chairman, vice chairman, and the entire team felt that DCMM 1 is not good enough today. And let us develop a model or mature it further, mature the model itself further, and enable any firm testing itself for its digital maturity to find a way forward, where the firm finds that in certain areas, the firm is not competent enough. The model provides a roadmap as to how to develop further, how to mature further, and be competent as it is required today. I'm sure that DAB will go on maturing this model further and will bring out the further versions as technology advances very fast. Some of the very unique features of this model are that this is discipline specific model, where a firm can test on audit front how much technologically it is matured, on tax and compliances front what is its maturity level. In every area of practice, the firm can test its maturity, and that is the unique feature of this model. I'm sure this model will be so useful to the practice units that they will be able to take further steps to mature further and be competent as it is required today. I'm sure today there are very eminent speakers. They will guide us and they will make us realize how much important it is to be digitally, information technologically competent, and how it enables us to work virtually from anywhere in the world. So I once again compliment the two committees, particularly the chairman of two committees, our president, for taking this initiative to organize this webinar today. Thank you so much. I invite our president to take over.
Thank you, Vice President, sir, and very respected and honorable Vice President ICAI, Nihar Jambu Sariyaji, Russell Guthrie, the CFO and the Executive Director of International Federation of Accountants, Madam Monica, the Chairperson of the Assembly Committee of IFAC, my colleagues in the Council, Manu Bhai Dayaji, the Chairman and Vice Chairman of the Committee, and Aniket Bhai, one of the Council member and the Chairman of the Digital Learning Hub, which is now even available on the IFAC website to support all the POs. And very good evening to all the viewers. At the outset, I welcome all the distinguished panel, specifically Russell and Monica, to acceded our request and join us today in this special webcast being organized by the two committees of the ICAI. And I believe that more than 40,000 viewers right now will create the once again a new landmark of viewership among our members and the interest which is there among members to convert themselves into the virtual firms. Friends, you are all aware that right now the entire globe is is passing from an unprecedented kind of a crisis. That is COVID-19, and everybody is suffering because of all the economies are suffering. Our members are suffering. Our professional colleagues are suffering. So I, at the outset, I pray the Almighty for each one of your safety and about your health, your family members, your colleagues, and your team members. Friends, you are aware that when we are talking about the profession and specifically the chartered accountants, when we are talking about the chartered accountants, specifically talking about the small and medium practitioners, there is a time of challenge because in a small and medium practitioner firms, we have always, I will say, the reasonable level of capacity, a regional level of, I will say, the digital competency, the resources available. And when you have the lockdown kind of a situation, you are not able to travel, you are not able to move out from your offices or from your residence. It is again a very, very important, challenging time, not only to deliver your services, but also to remain updated, keep yourself updated about the various activities and specifically learning the new skills, because it is like our profession belong to the economic activities, and it is very, very important for all of us to keep ourselves always learning. And I used to say reskilling our skills. So it is very important that we reskill our skills to ready for a future age professional, to see that we are ready with the future of the profession. Friends, as far as the SMPs are concerned, I am aware that today we have the two very eminent personalities, Madam Monica ji, who is the chairperson of the SMP committee, and Russell will share you their experience and the global experience, that how the SMPs are behaving, how they are working at the global level. But just to share with you that a few initiatives taken by the ICAI in this COVID situation, because everybody, we are all working 24/7 to support our SMP firms to our members and students. I just wish to share the Russell and Monica madam as well, that the moment we were getting a hint of this kind of a situation, that there will be a challenge for our small and medium practitioner, immediately ICAI earmarked a sum of around $5 million to support our firms by giving them that technologically enableness, that we will be entering into the various kind of agreement with the vendors, like for example office management software, cloud and everything, and that will be made available to the SMP firms practically either at a zero cost or maybe of a smaller cost, if the little bit I will say the little bit a larger size firm is there, even if that is a SMP firm. Apart from that, just to share with you, because as I mentioned that we have to reskill our members on a regular basis, we not only organized more than 50 webinars in the last 60 days of lockdown in India, but also we started the online Cpd to our members. There is a digital learning hub which is very popular in at least in the South Asia, and we are offering that even to the IFAC members and the SAFA countries, CAPA members. But just to share with you that we offered not only the unstructured Cpd, but also the structured Cpd through that digital learning hub. So that comprises all the material, whether it is in relation to the blockchain technology, that is the emerging areas, robotics, and even the data analytics, but also on the contemporary topic like auditing standards, or it is a IFRS, Ind AS, or even the code of ethics. So practically that is a hub of the entire knowledge, and that is made available free of charge to our members, that even you can earn the Cpd online by giving the answer of certain question after the lecture is being over, and you can access that complete online Cpd hours. Same way, we also ensured that members and student service, and specifically the firm service, should be remain uninterrupted. Last year, we launched a portal called activity called self-service portal. By virtue of that, our members are getting the seamless services of all the activities related to their, whether there is a registration of a firm or changing of any mandate about their firms online without any intervention, and it's working remotely. So that is also being achieved. I just wish to share with you that there are two new initiatives which we have taken in the COVID period. One is the establishment of a Center for Audit Quality. So this is a new concept which we are working to equip our small and medium practitioner by organizing the special training program, special unique training program. Say somebody is entering into the taking the COP, that is a certificate of practice. Immediately we are offering some recommendatory program for them, that okay, they have to undergo with this 3 days program or a 10 days program, so that they can develop their skills. Apart from that, we also started last year the UDIN concept, that is Unique Document Identification Number, which is also safeguarding them that, okay, there should not be any misuse of their signatures, and everybody can appreciate the efforts put in by the our members while rendering the various services to our members. Last but not the least, just to share with you that for the our small and medium practitioners, we are also entering into the various engagement with the software provider, the service providers. Say, for example, there is an office management software. I just wish to even update our members that today evening only I received a mail from one of the very, very important office management software company that they will be providing the lifetime free of cost this office management software to the small and medium practitioners, if in case they are the proprietary concerns and they have the less than 5 members. So it will be the 100% free lifetime office management software that will be provided by that company. So we entered into that kind of a agreement. So what I'm trying to convey you that we are looking all the aspects, whether it is in relation to the capacity building of our small and medium practitioners, digitally providing them the digital services, whether it is a reskilling to our members or even developing their capacity of their firm, why to render the services in a remote location. I just wish to update you that last month we organized a program wherein we started with the concept of a virtual CA firms, and we invited the Chad Davis, which was there in our Vancouver meeting of IFAC. So I requested him to address our members, and he addressed for more than 1 hour along with our Indian speaker. And you will be surprised to know that there were more than 50,000 members participated in that webinar, and there was a great enthusiasm of our members after that program. And even we have named this program, today's program, as a part 2. So virtual firm part 2, just to create a series of learning for our members so that it will be like a second stage of our learning. And that is exactly the DCMM. So what is this DCMM? As rightly explained by Honorable Vice President, that is Digital Competency Maturity Model. So how much you are mature in the digital competency, how much you have converted yourself into the virtual firm. So you can reassess yourself. And the beauty of this DCMM is that it is not talking about in general. So in case some firms are in the assurance services, some firms are into the tax consultancy, some firms are into the other management consultancy. So they can assess based on their expertise area that, okay, whether they are ready with the technology on these parameters. And even I just wish to share with you, Honorable, because we have the Russell Guthrie here. Russell, I just wish to share with you that we have developed this DCMM in such a way that not only our members of India can use this, the members of all the POs which are falling under your jurisdiction of our IFAC can also use, because we have given that you select your country, you can select, and that will be giving a certificate kind of so it will be a voluntary certificate like 1 star, 2 star, like that. It will be giving a certificate that your firm is a 2-star firm, that you have the 2 level capabilities of your firm. So what I am trying to convey to all my colleagues and the viewers, that not only we have to develop our capabilities, conversion from I will say a firm which is based on a particular location to a virtual firm, but also by using the DCMM, you have to assess time and again that, okay, where you stand today. So what is on the one side, the ICAI is putting its heart and soul to enter into the various kind of engagement with the vendor, guiding you. Even we are working on a manual, that is how to convert a normal firm to a virtual firm. So we are developing a manual which will be giving an implementation guide so that our all firms can convert into the virtual firm. But on the other side, there is a DCMM which will evaluate you. So friends, this will be, I believe that with the presence of Russell and Monica ji, there will be a great learning, and all our colleagues are the expert of this subject, and they have put their heart and soul to develop this DCMM. Even I congratulate Manu Bhai, Deya Bhai and Aniket Bhai for putting their heart and soul in developing this DCMM version 2. And I believe that after Russell and Monica ji, there will be a great deliberation by all of them that how to use this DCMM and how to assess your capabilities, how to assess the adoption of the technology in the last few months by each one of you. So with this, I request Manu Bhai to just give an overview of not more than 2 minutes. We have a presentation of DCMM. What is this DCMM all about? And then we will request Russell to address all of us. Over to Manu Bhai.
Thank you, President Sir. And well, President Sir, since we have the presentation, I will not be taking much of the time, but we are in the process of releasing a tool which will help all the firms for doing their self-evaluation. They will just have to fill in the answers. The marks will come, and wherever there is a lacking, they will be able to see the implementation guide. So, well, friends, I think all the viewers can also see, but all the panelists, especially from our President, Vice President, and the IFAC COE and CEO and Madam SMP Chair, probably you can see the red button on your screen, which says click here. Yeah. So I'm just kindly press that click here. I'll just do a count. 3, 2, 1, go.
A self-assessment tool to assess the digital competency of your firms and to guide on how you could scale up and ride the tide of technology. As newer digital technologies continue to emerge, accounting firms must anticipate and gear up for the technological revolution. The DCMM roadmap helps a firm to obtain your current maturity rating scores obtained in each of the respective sections, which are to be interpreted independently to determine firms' maturity for moving up the next level of maturity. It provided a set of minimum requirements which the firms can evaluate on a self-assessment basis, and build a strategy for upskilling, to leverage the opportunities which will unfold in the digital era. DCMM version 2.0 includes implementation guide in the form of implementation clues. These clues are practical based and are a sort of hand-holding for small and medium firms for adopting new technologies. What institute are you a member of? In what country is your practice located? What is the size of your practice? Digital Competency Maturity Model, DCMM 2.0. Questionnaire sections to help you rate your firm. Section A. Level of automation of firm's internal processes. Section B. Availability of qualified resource pool and talent development relating to digital competencies. Section C1. Discipline-specific categorization, audit. Section C2. Discipline-specific categorization, tax and compliances. Section C3. Discipline-specific categorization, accounting and support function. Section C4. Discipline-specific categorization, other management consulting services. Section D. Adaptation of advanced and emerging technologies. How to access Digital Competency Maturity Model version 2.0. Click Digital Learning Hub. Click Explore. Click Digital Insights. Click Subscribe now. Enter login ID. Enter password. Click Login. Click Confirm. Click Digital Competency Maturity Model version 2.0. Click Courses or Batches 1. Click Launch.
Thank you, Manu Bhai, and congratulations to all the team members. And I believe that Russell and Monica will certainly agree with me that it's a great initiative by the ICAI to equip our small and medium practitioners for their developing and assessing their capabilities as far as the virtual firms and remote locations and develop their capabilities. Now, friends, we have with us a very eminent personality of the IFAC. We used to call him Russell, that is Russell Guthrie, and he is the CFO and Executive Director of the International Federation of Accountants. I just wish to share with you, the International Federation of Accountants is practically the parent body of more than 170 professional accounting organizations globally and based in New York. And we are all the member. The ICAI is the member, very, I will say, the privileged member of the IFAC under the guidance, and even the World Congress of Accountants, which we are talking about, that will be there in November 2022, will be under the guidance of the IFAC only. India will be the host, and Russell Guthrie is is one of the very, very important, I will say, the contributor in that entire process. Friends, Russell Guthrie ji is responsible for the strategy development, finance and operational part of the IFAC, and he was joined as a director in March 2001 in IFAC. Earlier, he worked 12 years in the different capacity at the different firms, and he is a 1988 graduate from the Texas University and is a Bachelor of Business Administration, apart from a CPA from the AICPA. So over to Russell for his deliberation and guidance to all our viewers.
Thank you, President Gupta, and esteemed President, Vice President, and fellow speakers and panelists, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very good evening to you. It's indeed a pleasure and an honor to join this discussion and to contribute some views from IFAC. But let me, at the outset, congratulate the ICAI on its digital competency tool. This is at the very heart of my remarks and of the important journey that many practitioners need to begin to make, to continue to make, to invest in their skills, to be ready to serve the world we find ourselves in. IFAC's relationship with ICAI goes back to 1977, the year our organization was founded, and indeed ICAI was a founder member of IFAC. And over the decades since then, as the accountancy profession has grown in India and globally, we've been proud to work with the ICAI. And many of your members have given invaluable volunteer service to IFAC's boards and committees and the international standard setting boards that we support. As a partner in India, the region, and around the world, ICAI has been a powerful contributor to the accountancy profession on behalf of the public interest. And with so many thoughtful colleagues gathered to take on some of the biggest issues facing the accountancy profession today, this is indeed an exceptionally valuable event. I understand that tens of thousands of people are joining us, and so I'd like to congratulate ICAI on this webinar. It's a remarkable achievement, and I know it's not your first, and it certainly won't be your last, but it really demonstrates your position as a leader in the profession's response to COVID-19. I'll begin by outlining what we're up against. We've already seen the severe effects of COVID-19, and although many countries are talking about opening back up, we can't say we're through the worst of it yet, either in terms of the public health crisis or the economic crisis that has subsequently ensued. With infections and deaths still at alarming levels, unemployment rates are breaking 20% in many economies. Financial and commodity markets have been extremely volatile, and countless businesses that had extremely good outlooks in January are now facing bankruptcy. It would be a mistake not to look at these problems long-term as we act in the short term. Last week, the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve noted that the high risk of bankruptcies and layoffs among small businesses and warned that business insolvencies can weigh on growth for years to come. In other words, although the world might someday end this public health crisis with a vaccine or an effective medical treatment, we can't make a cure for economic and social problems in a lab. Those effects of this virus will be with us long after we contain it, and we can't afford to wait for a miracle. The Federal Reserve's comments on small businesses leads me to the larger topic of today's discussion, the enormous difficulty and uncertainty facing SMEs and SMPs and the role in technology in finding solutions. Smaller firms face challenges bigger than anything we've seen in generations. Most SMEs do not have cash reserves to handle drastic prolonged decrease in revenue, let alone a complete loss of revenue. A JP Morgan pre-crisis study showed that among 600,000 of the bank's business clients with fewer than 500 employees, the average company had less than a month's worth of cash reserves. Now we're going on 3 months of a devastating financial hit across nearly all industries. Without comprehensive and well-executed fiscal measures and other aid for SMEs, these businesses are clearly in trouble if they haven't already failed. As trouble for SMEs And trouble for SMEs means trouble for everyone. 90% of all businesses in the world, and certainly India is included, are SMEs. They not only account for huge slices of commerce and employment, particularly in Asia Pacific, but they're deeply embedded in the supply chains of much larger corporations that might seem relatively safe from the COVID-19 crisis. What happens to SMEs will reverberate throughout the global economy and throughout the accountancy profession, particularly among SMPs. I'll turn for a moment now to the relationship between SMEs, SMPs, and digitalization. Accountants working with or in SMEs provide valuable support and advice to their organizations, especially while SMEs are looking for creative ways to survive and grow in hard times. No SME can rely on one-size-fits-all advice. It's SMPs with agility, attention, and close personal relationship with their clients who are these companies going to look to for advice that fits. Technology is advancing at breakneck speeds, and SMPs have a chance to master new technological tools, incorporate them into their own practices, and use them effectively on behalf of their clients in a time of need. This will require a massive effort, but it will undoubtedly pay dividends. And certainly the tool launched by ICAI today will help in that journey. In the IFAC 2018 Global SMP Survey, only 38% of practitioners viewed technology as a significant challenge, and only 28% of practices plan to allocate more than 10% of technology of revenue to technology investment. I expect, and I certainly hope, those numbers will have risen quite a bit over the last few months. SMEs and SMPs stand to benefit enormously from digitalization. With the use of new information communication methods such as blockchain and new information storage systems such as the cloud, the cost of keeping, accessing, and transmitting data is falling. Harnessing data and data services will be central to the future of our profession, and you don't have to own a server to run a data-driven business anymore. We have room for creative and disruptive business practices. On the other hand, cybersecurity threats remind us of new problems ahead. Even big businesses are having trouble protecting their data from cyber attacks. But even well into this crisis, a PwC survey showed that a significant number of CFOs actually plan to cut investments in digital transformations and information technology as their revenue dries up. I think this is going to prove short-sighted in the end. The profession at all levels, among professional accountancy organizations, firms, and individuals, must make the value and necessity of digitalization quite seriously and act on the understanding that to ensure their organizations and clients keep up for the future. Now is the time to consider how can SMPs respond to these challenges to SMEs and to their own businesses. I'd like to leave you with 3 thoughts on the way forward for SMPs and the accountancy profession. First, professional accountants must look to do the same work differently, and technology is the key. Take, for example, the issue of physical distance between SMPs and their clients. How to provide assurance services in the era of social distancing has emerged as a particularly complicated and urgent issue for the accountancy profession, and a lot of work has gone into finding answers, including the excellent work from ICAI. Consider the verification of client records that exist only in paper form. This process can't proceed in person when lockdown orders keep auditors from visiting their clients. The relevant documents are sitting in countless empty offices around the world. But some auditors might find this task is possible if their options to client services may not have virtual solutions. If a client is completely shuttered or is otherwise physically unable to offer even remote documentation, that part of an audit cannot proceed. Even with scanned documents, an auditor without physical access will have difficult judging whether those copies can be accepted as authentic. There might be dead ends, things we find we can't do right now, and that must be postponed. But these will be important issues to define and raise with clients and with regulators as soon as possible, as they will substantially affect audit opinions. IFAC at the global level is working with firms, regulators, member bodies, and all the others in the IFAC network to try to address these points and provide relevant guidance. The concept of doing the same work differently extends well beyond audit and into the daily operations of every SMP and SME. The physical distance between employees of the SME themselves can be a serious challenge in many ways. And on this point, I'd like to share a little of what we've seen at IFAC. At IFAC, we're actually an SME. We have about 80 employees split between our offices in New York City and our offices and our satellite office in Toronto, Canada. Now, we're effectively split between about 80 home offices. We didn't know whether this transition to remote work would go smoothly, but a few things we did ahead of time and a few adaptations we've made since have helped us succeed. Last year, we centralized much of our internal communications and file sharing into Microsoft Office 365 to take advantage of its integrated functionality and cloud data storage. This took a significant adjustment among all IFAC staff, but at the beginning of social distancing, our experience meant we were much better prepared to continue our individual and collaborative work. We knew how to keep talking to each other when communication became even more important than it was before. Many more changes have helped, particularly video calls. Our all-staff meetings are on Zoom now rather than in our conference room, but we've found ways to make them interactive and engaging, more than just a typical stereotypical conference call. The accountancy profession, along every stakeholder in business, needs to look out for the health and well-being of its people as well. The inescapable reality of social distancing has pushed many organizations to go virtual in order to stay in business. But going virtual isn't enough unless an organization proceeds with its workers in mind. Building strong remote work capabilities certainly is an issue of productivity, with lasting implications for an organization's ability to create value under public health restrictions. But those tools must also support office communities and help individuals find connections amid so much disruption and uncertainty. The accountancy profession is a good position to serve its people well and to lead by example. Second, I'd like to urge SMPs to look for new ways to add value. Although SMPs are up against a lot, they're also in a position to help themselves and their clients get through this. Some SMPs have seen cash flows dry up as their clients prioritize other financial commitments or over other services. Starting now, firms need to think about how to evolve their operating model. As SMEs themselves, agility is key for SMPs. Technology that keeps members of the firm connected with each other and with clients is indispensable. More flexible hours and more opportunities for reskilling and upskilling are also important. And S&Ps should consider providing more business advisory consulting services that are tailored to each client. Wherever the close business-client relationship S&Ps enjoy can be leveraged into more engagement, S&Ps need to think and evolve quickly to capitalize on that. Professional accounts need to be sort of a translator right now. Fiscal measures to support SMEs have sprung up all over the world, but in many jurisdictions, SMEs are confused about how to get that help that's available to them. This kind of translation is as much a technical project as it is a personal one. Many people are struggling to stay afloat, and SMPs should be there not just to support their clients' businesses, but also to support their clients. It's also clear that many SMEs could use a trusted advisor to adapt their models. Restaurants moving to takeaway services likely need advice on online payments. Retail shops might need guidance on minimizing brick and mortar costs while expanding e-commerce operations. SMPs can answer some of these practical and fundamental questions. While the long-lasting societal economic implications of COVID-19 have yet to be fully realized, it is easy to imagine the ramifications that this pandemic will have on the global financial ecosystem. Economic crises have historically served as a powerful catalyst for fraud and financial misrepresentation, and the current environment is certainly no different. Organizations will understandably seek to portray themselves as pictures of financial health, whether that reflects reality or not. And as accountants, auditors, and other financial professionals, we will be called on not only to steward companies through these unusual times, but will also feel pressured or even tempted to put forward the best possible scenarios of the companies and clients that represent. So we're calling on each other and the profession at large to continue to commit to the ethical, audit and assurance, and financial reporting standards that guide our profession, provide robust forward-looking information, exercise heightened diligence, professional judgment, and professional skepticism, and work with other professional accountants and peers to hold each other accountable. It is a time to be especially vigilant. My third and final thought on our way forward is that we must continue to learn from each other as we are doing today as we strive to overcome obstacles and seize opportunities. Many organizations are publishing material about reporting and assurance services during the COVID-19 crisis, and I commend ICAI for being a leader among them. We have found thought guidance from all over our network, including many content hubs hosted by our member organizations and other IFAC partners with an outstanding breadth and depth of information. As the profession is rallying to provide solutions and guidance to navigating this crisis, we aim to get this information to our stakeholders, and especially SMPs and SMEs that need it most. We've posted links to some of ICAI's work, as well as content from many other organizations on our dedicated COVID-19 resource page at ifac.org. We recently updated the site to include online Cpd opportunities shared by our member organizations that are being made free of charge and are available to each other, and this includes offerings from ICAI. I encourage everyone, especially SMPs, to visit this page and to explore what the accountancy profession is seeing and saying during the crisis. ICAI has led by example with its digitalization of member and student services and with its ongoing efforts to lead the Indian accountancy profession into the digital age. Your new paper on digital competency maturity model stands out as a great accomplishment. This transition will be crucial for all firms. It's important to recall that professional accountants still need the support of their member organization, and ICAI has been outstanding in this regard. I'd like to add that this month, IFAC published a guide on practice transformation for small and medium enterprises, and my colleague, Monica Forster, will discuss that later in the webinar. In conclusion, I want to emphasize that as we think through and beyond this crisis, we need to also remember the bright spots. Greenhouse gas emissions have fallen. Digital transformations are happening much more quickly than anticipated, and we've seen exceptional opportunities for the accountancy profession to fulfill its public interest mandate, and many examples of professional accountants and the organizations they represent stepping in and delivering and helping the public through these unprecedented times. Every gathering like this one is a crucial step along a long path to recovery, to restoring what we've lost, but also to turn the lessons and silver linings of this crisis into permanent gains. This conversation is sure to continue for months or even years. We'll see advances in technology, shifts in the business environment, new regulatory and fiscal measures, and more than a few things we haven't even thought of yet. But we are adaptable, and with the focus and diligence of organizations like ICAI and the commitment of professionals like yourselves, we will continue to adapt successfully. Thank you very much, and I wish you much success with the rest of the program.
Thank you, Russell. And I believe that your mantra for do the differently and new way of add value and learning from each other, the three mantra you have given like a 3-point guidance to all our members, I believe will be very, very useful to see that how the SMPs are supporting the SMEs, creating values. And because you rightly mentioned that one size not fit for all. And I believe that our chartered accountants will be will get the right message that they have to develop their capacities. They have to see that how they can become a adding the values to the business of the SMEs, and how they can at this difficult time, how they can contribute to the building nation. So thanks for your valuable time and guidance to all our members, and you have thanks for the appreciation to the ICAI for all the initiative taken in this difficult time, and all the times with this long association of ICAI with the IFAC. Now we will be moving to Madam Monica Forster, who she is the chairperson of SMP committee of the IFAC. Madam joined become the chair in 2017, and earlier she was the deputy chair of this committee since 2014. And Madam is having a more than 20-year experience in the accountancy profession, and she is handling the accounting, tax, and even the legal subject. And she belongs to Brazil. So welcome you, Madam. And even we wish, because of the COVID pandemic, we are also looking at large number of cases which are so we wish you safe as well as healthy to you and all the family members and colleagues. Madam is the coordinator of this committee for audit study. She remained the coordinator for the committee for audit study. She is an MBA and in the financial management, and worked for the various organizations in the Brazil. Over to Madam Monica for her deliberation and the guidance to our members.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. First of all, good evening, sir, gentlemen, and madams. It's a pleasure and an honor to participate of your webinar. Indeed, I had the honor and opportunity to participate of a physical conference by ICAI about 2.5 years ago. So it's great to have this opportunity to be participating together with you once again on that. And certainly all the situation that was brought by all of you, by Mr. Russell too, in relation to the challenges that we are facing due to the COVID-19 situation, are making us identify and recognize that what appears to be a future challenge is reality right now. So discussions that we had, mainly in relation to technology, on which we thought, hey, let's be prepared for the future. No, the future already happened. And we were forced somehow to get adjusted. And I'm sure we certainly be able to identify a lot of positive aspects from all the situations. All around the world, we are facing so many different needs and things that need to be adapted. But for that purpose, the more quantity of exchanging information we can achieve, the better, the best we can have on that purpose. With that said, I'm just now going to share my presentation. 1 second, just to put it on the screen. Done. So I'll be mentioning in more details and with practical suggestions, aspects referred by Russell in relation to the Practice Transformation Action Plan, and also will be covering some other activities and issues that we are discussing in the SMP committee and within IFAC as a whole. When we speak and consider about preparing future-ready SMPs, IFAC launched recently the Practice Transformation Action Plan, a roadmap to the future. This was issued on May 1st, so it's really, really recent. This is a short publication. It has 18 pages and captures key messages and initiatives under 4 themes for firms to consider to evolve to be future-ready. Some of these future-ready aspects, indeed, are being our current situation days right now. The areas are particularly relevant in the current environment, and I'll briefly cover these topics. But as with all transformative journey, the most important part is the mindset change. The future requires an open, agile mindset, and we need to be prepared to embrace rapid change. Clients' expectations, demands, needs are changing. A key competency in the future will be the ability to see and anticipate trends and needs on the horizon and advise clients on the implications of those trends. This publication, the Practice Transformation Action Plan, is part of a dedicated webpage on practice transformation, as Russell already referred in his speech, which features other relevant material to help firms, including videos, articles, PAO initiatives, and case studies examples. For instance, in the SMP Committee January webinar, we had a session with a practitioner, which you will also refer, Chad Davis, who leads Canada's first accredited virtual firm and his journey. Indeed, when we first heard him, it seems as something almost impossible, almost unbelievable. Who would know that 1 or 2 months after that, we would need all to be prepared to be virtual and to get adjusted on that. Fundamental to all future successful firms will be embracing technology to improve practice efficiencies, enhance how clients are serviced, and expand the range of services provided. For that purpose, we can focus on 5 key initiatives to successfully adopt and embed technology. Which are these 5 initiatives? First, to conduct an environmental scan. The first step here is to look outwards, not inwards. Consider what is happening in the world right now and how it will affect the practice and our operations. How can technology help improve efficiencies, productivity, quality, lower costs, attract staff, and maintain and add new clients? What can be automated? The second key initiative refers to align with your firm's IT strategy with the long-term strategy. So both strategies need to be aligned and going through the same way, IT and long-term strategy of the firm. Firms should identify which technology is best aligned with their strategy. For example, to grow targets, service offerings, and consider the relevant business need, available budget, and marketplace opportunities. The return on investment should be calculated, but the risk of not investing should also be considered. So you might identify a lot of different possibilities of technologies, a lot of different alternatives, but perhaps a great alternative for one firm might not fit perfectly to your firm. These needs should be considered and analyzed based on your own firm's strategy. The third initiative refers to adopting the cloud. Cloud technology has become a key part of the accounting industry. Practitioners can now serve clients from anywhere at any time. Some years ago, we used to hear about the possibility on serving clients in other jurisdictions, in other areas, and that seems to be very difficult. Right now, with all technology alternatives, which include the adoption, the use of cloud, that becomes very easy and very accessible to SMPs all around the world. The fourth initiative refers to involving clients in technology decisions. It's not about only deciding and changing from our SMP perspective. It's about hearing the client needs, understanding the client's capacities to work together with us on the services we'll render to them. So clients want to hear about developments that can save time and money. Involving clients in new technologies through virtual meetings and client portals help create transparency and highlights a long-term visions for all involved. The last but not less important initiative is on identifying and supporting a technology champion. Staff should be empowered to follow technology trends and inform the firm about possible future opportunities and challenges. Identify and position a passionate team member to take the lead in implementing a new technology initiative. We won't have our staff aware and understanding totally the technology environment. So to find this technology champion, this technology leader, will help SMPs very strongly to be prepared and take the best opportunities from the technology environment. There are some areas that SMPs can evolve in the digital areas. And this involved getting together with the teams, with the staff, and preparing for new alternatives of working. We're already facing that right now through home office, through quarantine or limitations of access. So our staff are already working through this format, and we need to consider their needs very strongly when we focus on being technologically prepared. Staff are the most valuable asset of any firm. Investment in talent management should be a top priority. 5 talent management initiatives that I can bring and that are included in our publication refer to: first, offering ongoing learning and continuous development through digital skills. So our staff need to invest time every week to remain current, in particular with digital skills. Firms should publicize initiatives and investments they are making in training and personal development. Certainly the practitioners, the staff, mainly the new generation, will get more involved and more dedicated to SMPs that give the proper attention and the proper support, referring to e-learning and to technology environment. Second area, empower staff to innovate. Our staff should be encouraged to provide suggestions for potential new service lines or how best to utilize technology. The third area refers to engaging in transparent career progression conversations. The next generation of accountancy professionals is, yes, focused on developing their careers, attaining new capabilities, and recognizing the importance of ongoing feedback instead of more annual reviews. This is a new format. This has changed. What used to be applied in the past doesn't apply anymore. So through technology and through a proper and consistent approach with the staff and the new generation, we certainly will achieve quite better results. Introduce flex time. The new model of talent management is flexible and varied, which includes the opportunity to work remotely. I remember that when we used to discuss that some time ago, some months ago, some years ago, this is something that appeared to be impossible. We have legal limitations. This is not allowed in our jurisdiction, and so on. However, right now, with this new situation, what could be identified is that all around the world, even the legislations were modified in order to allow flex time, to allow home office, because that was mandatory, that was necessary. So this is something that is very positive and currently is our reality, is our daily routine. The fifth area is the use of a variety of recruitment techniques, for example, social media. Sometimes practitioners and mainly SMPs consider they have a technical approach. They are not focusing on using specific social media alternatives. But we have these tools available. So also for recruitment techniques, it's very important to use these alternatives to make sure we are using the same language, we are using the same references between the SMP and the practitioners, the new generation, the new staff that is coming to work together with us. We also need to focus on the situation of our clients, our SME clients. These are stressful times for them. We'll need to give support as trusted advisors more than ever to our clients. There's also an opportunity here for firms to evolve their operating model and to build advisory services. Indeed, when the limitations due to COVID-19 started, we had discussions all around the world on the difficulties, on what would be the next step. We would have limitations on our services. And right now, after a certain period of time, what we could identify is that new services have come due to the situation. So we need to be very proactive as SMPs to identify the opportunities that are arising from these new situations. I'll bring here 5 initiatives to adapt the firm model and build advisory services. So to be prepared to render other types of services to the clients. First, move from transactional to strategic services. Firms need to be more proactive than reactive and shift from hindsight to foresight using data-driven insight. Technology tools enable an opportunity to provide information to clients in real time. Firms need to do more with the data they have available to remain relevant in the current situation of the world. Second, reevaluate the services provided and the marketing strategies. Practitioners need to establish more regular and ongoing communication with clients. Listen to the needs of the clients and provide the necessary support. Remember the saying, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Firms need to see opportunities and react to that. For example, IT security, analyzing data to provide insights for managing proposals of the clients. Recent weeks have seen an uptake of service, such as those relating to helping SMEs with their cash flow projections, preparing of new business plans, restructuring activities, reviewing the business continuity plans. So a lot of different activities have arisen from all this situation. Moving into a niche market. Specialization is in a niche market offering could be a way forward. It could be a field where the firm has a very high degree of expertise and or a specialized technical understanding and knowledge that optimizes the process. So once the SMP focuses on a specific niche, the efforts, the resources are dedicated to that purpose, and certainly you'll add value and you'll optimize the process and the routine you're involved in. Use networks, associations, and alliances to add value. The benefit of joining can include access to training and development, as well as new tools and resources. There is significant value in building strong referral networks with other firms and advisors. Last but not least, conduct a regular strategic review. This is important to make sure you are conducting all what is happening accordingly to what is needed, to what is will allow the SMP to be successful. On that purpose, I'll only bring also short references on tools and guidance that are available by IFAC. One of them is the Practice Management Guide. The Practice Management Guide has a very specific chapter focusing only on leveraging technology. Indeed, this is the biggest chapter of the Practice Management Guide, and it focuses on very specific and relevant aspects of technology to support SMPs in their daily practice and with their SMEs. So the module includes information on new and emerging technologies, developing a technology strategy, hardware and software options, how to leverage technology, and technology risks. We also have miscellaneous articles and videos available at the Global Knowledge Gateway, which have technology focus. In this presentation, which will be available to you, I'll bring some examples of these articles and videos that are available, and I strongly invite all of you to access the web page, access the Knowledge Gateway, and look for these articles. They certainly will be very supportive to SMPs and to their SMEs to pass through all this technology challenge and be prepared with this future focus. So, the new tomorrow. What seems to be the future is the today. Welcome to the fast future. The future offers SMPs significant opportunities to grow and adapt to serve rapidly changing worlds. Practice transformation will success with a focus on embracing change, leveraging technology, new approaches to developing and training people, and a renewed emphasis on providing relevant and value-added services to the marketplace. Every firm will be different, and the level of action to transform will depend on a range of factors, including the life cycle of the practice, partners' motivations, the size and the services provided, the firm's location, and type and number of clients. The important is to face and be prepared through these different perspectives, mainly technology, but also adequate staff, mobilized teams, and different services, including advisory, to really be today the future focus firm. To conclude, these are some of IFAC resources, which I once again invite you to access. With that said, I thank for the opportunity on bringing all what is being discussed and developed by IFAC and by the SMP committee, and I'm at your disposal for any further information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Monica. Madam Monica Forrester, and for your very valuable tips and some of the guidance to our members that how they can transform themselves into the COVID pandemic situation to a successful firm, and how what kind of an initiative they should take during this time and even after that to develop the capacity and reskill themselves, how to see that they can provide the better services to the various stakeholders. So the good 15-16 points were there, and I'm aware that with the paper which is available at the Knowledge Gateway, the very important paper being developed by the IFAC, and is actually I used to say is like a guidance paper that how they can implement into their practices, and useful tips are there to transform themselves, as rightly mentioned by Russell, that we need to transform ourselves to support the SMEs in this difficult time. And I believe that the deliberation by Russell and Monica, Madam Monica, is very, very useful for all of us. And it's like an international perspective, because you are giving the international perspective. Madam, though the time is very short, and I'm aware that Russell has also to move, we requested him for only 1 hour, and already it's more than 1 hour. I just wish to have a question from you, Madam, that being you are the SMP, the chairperson of the SMP committee at the IFAC level, what kind of you see that how the SMPs are globally behaving in this kind of a situation, and vis-a-vis the India, how you see that, what kind of a guidance, maybe in few lines, if you can guide the looking with your experience at the international level.
Indeed, I believe with this whole situation, the trend is to have more global perspectives than ever on this situation. I didn't mention, but we recently issued also a checklist for small practices to identify how to react on a practical approach to the COVID challenges. So what we are focusing right now is to understand needs that might be modified, might be changing to that, and certainly will more than ever focus on what might arise, perhaps locally, but will become globally in relation to needs besides the ones we are already identifying.
Thank you, Madam Monica, and I believe that the checklist, Manu Bhai and other colleagues will be taking note of that and will be sharing to our members at large, so that they can also use the take the benefit of the research work conducted by the IFAC, and even we can also guide our members that how to take the maximum benefit of all these Knowledge Gateway and the other papers being developed by the IFAC, being we are the integral part. Thank you very much, Madam Monica, and thank you, Mr. Russell, for your sparing your precious time, both of you, and for giving a lot of guidance to our members. Now we have with us, so we convey our sincere thanks and regards to both the eminent speaker from the IFAC for joining this evening. And now over to Manu Bhai, and I will request. Yes, thank you, Russell. Thank you, Monica. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now I will be requesting Honorable Chairman of the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, CA Manu Agarwal ji, to share his wisdom on this DCMM, and as rightly we have named this webinar, that is a virtual firm part 2. So how it is part 2, and how you are you can guide our members to convert their practices into a virtual firm, and how the DCMM can be useful tool for them to move into that direction. And I just wish to remind our members that we are entering into the various engagement with the service providers to convert our firms and virtual firms. And with the support of Daya Bhai, we recently met with the one speaker, Mr. Guru, who deliberated in the first session, that is virtual firm part 1. And after that, I shared that he shared some applications on that day, that how they are doing this office management. And out of that, one PPO application was being shared by him. And yesterday I discussed with the PPO guy, and I am happy to intimate you that the PPO agreed to share allow all the SCA firms to use their application free of cost for the lifetime, in case we have the less than 5 members firm is there. And in case of the other firms, we will be into the dialogue that how best we can offer them the best facilities from the ICAI. So all these initiatives are in the pipeline to support our small and medium practitioners, apart from the knowledge and other initiatives taken by the ICAI. And even just to before sign off and handing over to Manu Bhai, I just wish to apprise you that Honorable Vice President ICAI Nihar sir, because he is the chairperson, convener of the Cpd directorate, that is CPE directorate in India. We used to say CPE, globally it is called Cpd. And that even our members, apart from the digital learning hub, even our members can now earn the structured CPRs without paying any fee through the virtual meetings as well. So I am not talking about webinar. It is the virtual meetings which the study circle branches and regional councils can organize. And there will be the user attendance, password, everything will be there, but there will not be any fees. So for the next few months, you can earn the structured hour without paying any fees. We are aware that this is a very difficult time, and to support our members that they should not be spending any money on the structured earning the CPR. So it is decided by all the CP directorate under the able guidance of Nihar Jambusaria ji, the vice president, and Aniket Bhai as the vice chairperson of that directorate, that till 31st August, member need not to pay any single penny, not spend any money for getting the structured CPR. So in a way, that will be saving a lot of money for our chartered accountants who are into the practice and they are looking for the structured CPRs. So friends, we are always there, as I used to say, that ICAI is for the member, by the member. And over to Manu Bhai for his guidance.
Thank you, President sir. Once again, the very respected Vice President, my council colleagues, and very good evening once again to all the viewers of this webcast. The international guests gone, I think we'll take this DCMM version 2 ahead with a bit of a national flavor. It is a step moving towards the international level, but I would like to say that probably in most of the areas, if not ahead, we are at least at par with all the international bodies. In fact, a number of cases we are leading, a number of places we are leading. And I would like to just say that this DCMM version 2, which we are talking about, is something which is now available. The tool has been launched, and I request all the firms to please go and to start using this tool. And just a second, now, friends, just one second. I think this.
Manu bhai, it was visible earlier.
Yes, it came. Now, friends, basically, we talk about a virtual office. We talk about how do we go forward. But the basic question is, why do we talk about this change? The first question which I would like to pose here is, will accounting change? Or I could even rephrase this question. into, is accounting changing or already has changed? Well, when I used to do my audit in those old days, we used to get fat books. We used to get all those ledgers, those red-minded books, and we used to do an audit in that. Then things changed. We started computerizing, everything went digital. And in fact, Tally became a synonym of accounting. People started using Tally to that extent that accounting and Tally was something which was replaceable with each other. They were not two different words, but they were the same word. Then going further one step, I would like to ask this question: is this also going to remain the same? Is Tally going to be that relevant? Well, if Tally changes, probably yes. If no, then like once Nokia getting vanished, Kodak not anymore in existence, things really change so fast. Something which is the buzzword today extinguishes within a matter of years. Now, why I'm saying this? Well, Tally has also started giving certain features, like you can directly import a bank account into Tally and just enter the heads, your accounting is done. The bank is imported. The softwares available now are all cloud-based, wherein you would not even have to do this. What will actually happen is that it will pick data automatically from your bank account, from your credit cards, from your demat accounts, from your mutual fund accounts, from the GSTN portal. Everything will get incorporated. Now, once that has come, the arithmetical accuracy of your books or the entry part would be auto-validated. The need for an audit on that account would probably no longer exist. Then what will happen? Well, the way we do audits will change. Now, I ask a simple question. Can stock taking be automated? A very simple sort of question. This basically is going to lead to, why do we need a virtual office? Why do we need to digitize? Why do we need to change all the tools which we have? Well, stock taking today can be automated, friends. Now, how? Well, we can simply scan the barcodes without counting it. And there are drones available which can do the counting also. So sitting at one spot, we can do a total stock taking. We need not go to that go down also. We can, with the help of a drone, take a photograph of what has been clicked and scan all the barcodes, and the stock taking would be done. So this is one small example of how things are going to change and how it's going. Now, the next question which I really love to ask to any audiences: can ledger scrutiny be automated? When I ask this question, well, the answer which I receive is yes. But I know everybody in their hearts is saying, how can ledger scrutiny be automated? This is a thing which we've been doing for the past, say, 15 years, 20 years. How can that be? That requires the judgment of an auditor. That requires the application of a mind. Where will the machine be able to do that? But since I asked this in a technology conference, in a gathering where the focus is on use of technology, people say yes. Okay, what I would like to do is, before we get into the DCMM model where it will be a panel discussion with Aniket, with Daya, I'll just try to bring out certain facts of how a ledger scrutiny can be automated. Now, in ledger scrutiny, one of the things which we do is a cash audit. Now, what do we do in a cash audit? Obviously, physical counting will have to be done physically if we have to go and see the notes. Well, going one step further, probably in the COVID scenario, we could say that ask somebody from the management to do it under a recorded basically environment where the camera takes a photograph and the counting is done. But I'm not going into that. Because that is a physical verification part. I'm talking about ledger scrutiny with regards to cash. Now, one of the things which we see is whether there are any cash payments above 10,000 rupees, whether there is any cash receipt above 2 lakh rupees, whether there is any whether there is a negative cash balance on any day. Now, just imagine a machine. A machine within seconds can find out whether there is a negative cash balance at the end of any day. A machine can very, very easily find out whether cash payment in excess of 10,000 has been done on any given day or not. A machine can very easily find out whether 2 lakhs has been received in cash or not. Now, I will go one step ahead. Manually checking if you're trying to find out whether there is a cash payment in excess of 10,000 rupees, a smart client divides his 12,000 payment into 2 payments of 5,000, 7,000 each to the same party in the same day. Manually, you may skip it. Using an Excel formula, you still may skip it. But using a certain audit tool with certain artificial intelligence, it will calculate the amount paid to each accounting code and will be able to club those 5 and 7,000, 12,000 and bring it out for you. So most of the things which we do in a cash audit can easily be automated. Now the next is debtor and credit audit. Now, debtor and creditor audit. What do we do in a debtor and creditor? Well, say creditors, if we are auditing creditors, we want to find out whether any loan account has been hidden in the garb of a creditor and the SAC or the client has tried not to report it to the authorities or makes it difficult for us to report. The other thing which we want to, so what do we do? Well, a tool would be able to find out all those accounts wherein no purchase has been entered and still it has been classified as a creditor. So your loan account would be singled out. It will be able to find out all those creditor accounts wherein you have received a payment. In a creditor account, you normally make a payment. So if there is a payment received from somebody, it means there is some problem. So that can also be easily found out by a tool. Now, the other things which we want is whether there are accounts which are slow moving, whether there are accounts where no transaction has taken place during the year, the opening balance is still outstanding. So all those accounts can easily be found out by the use of a tool or by advanced usage of data analytics, which is bringing the data in Excel, putting the formulas, applying certain macros, and taking out the relevant results. Now, let us go to debtors. Again, similarly, what happens is, like I said in creditors, the opposite takes place in debtors. If in debtors, you normally receive payments, but if there is a debtor account where you have made a payment, is there a debtor account in which no sale bill has been entered, so that may not be a debtor? Or so you can, by applying various formulae, by applying various tricks and techniques, you can do the data crunching and would be able to come out with excellent results. So what would probably be done manually in say 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, depending upon the volume, can be done within a matter of hours by using this data analytical techniques. Now, let us go one step ahead. Ledger scrutiny also involves the expense audit. What do we look for expenses? Well, in expenses, we would like to ensure how much of the expense has been done in cash, how much has been done through check, how much has been done through a journal entry. Again, a machine can easily segregate the whole account, the whole expense head into these 3 columns and tell you this expense number A, so much cash, so much check, and so much through a journal entry. Similarly, Excel template or a pivot chart could easily basically segregate all the expenses into 12 months and give you a month-wise summary, so you can know whether the expenses have been done in a proper manner, whether some expense has been left out, or some expenses have only been done in February. You can raise a query, why only February, why only March? So all these things which we normally do while doing the ledger scrutiny can easily be automated. Now, ratio analysis. Again, now doing ratio analysis manually is a very, very difficult task. A machine can do it in a matter of minutes. You can have all the ratios, expense to sales ratio, your gross profit ratios, and not only for 1 year. For the past 3 years, you can have comparative statements. So with this sort of exercise, what we can easily do is we can reduce our time and increase the quality to a very, very great extent. Now, these are some forensic techniques which are there, relative size factor. Basically, it is a theory which says that the normal transaction in any given account are of similar amounts. For example, you're doing trading with somebody, a bill of 70,000 is raised, 80,000, 60,000, 50,000, 75,000. But it would be difficult that the bill is of 4 lakh rupees. So what it does is it gives us the highest debit value in an account or a credit value, whatever you may want, with the second highest. It gives you that ratio. So if the ratio is greater than 2.5, greater than 3, then it is a red flag. It calls for further looking. So basically, it helps you recognize the areas in which you have to give further stress. So the time, again, what I'm saying time and again is that the time taken would get reduced and the quality would get enhanced. Benford's law, another very common theorem for forensics, is that it says the occurrence of a certain digit. Again, it will help us find out what are the various discrepancies. So various other things, like suppose we are doing a purchase audit, a purchase order we are trying to find out. Now, by a machine, you can also tell how many of the purchase orders have not been fully exhausted during the year, how many purchase orders are there where people have oversupplied. All these things can easily be done through data analytics, which otherwise is not possible. So friends, what actually is required to do this? Well, this digital competency maturity model will help us a lot, but 3 things we have to remember. First is we have to change our mindset, our skill set, and our tool set. We have to get away from the fact that we start believing by my time is over, I have spent some 15 years doing it this way, so I cannot change, I want to remain the same, and all those things. So that is something which we have to change. Skills, obviously, we will have to utilize digital skills, which nowadays is absolutely mandatory. And the tool set which we use is very, very important. So friends, the last thing which I would like to say is that this does not mean that a machine will completely replace whatever we are doing. It is simply that nobody or nothing can replace an auditor's knowledge, judgment, and exercise of his professional skepticism. So friends, with this, I just wish to say that this DCMM model is something from the Institute which basically tries to tell you, tries to teach you how to build those skills, how to enhance those skills, and how to adopt to the newest technologies. And with this, I would like to invite the Vice Chairman, Daya Bhai, for basically trying to give a small insight of how this DCMM model works before we get into the panel discussion.
Thank you, Manu sir. Hope I am audible.
Yes, you're audible.
So, Honorable President, President Sir Atul Gupta ji, I think you have set an example for taking the one step forward. Primarily, the saying is very clear that, one step more is a no jam place when you are actually taking the success and there is no one around. When you that one step moving forward makes whole lot of difference, sir. I think last year we made this DCMM2, which was again your thought process to work on. We have done it. And this year, with the support of Aniket Bhai, we could convert that into a fantastic digital tool. Huge amount of compliments. Yes, it is biased, but the fact remains very simple to you and the Vice President, sir, that, this is the year in which we could launch this tool where no one in the world have thought about. I think ICAI coming as number 1 as a global leader, even in version 1, we have been adopted by the European Federation. And the best part is we have actually patented this tool on ICAI name. I think it's a big compliment for our ICAI to, moving forward in that direction. So compliments to you, sir, and compliments to VP sir. And Manu bhai, you have always been a great support. Leader doesn't work, they make the team work a lot. So I come in the team, and I'm very happy to be part of your team and participative in this entire discussion. It gives me immense pleasure that we have come to a level where we could actually make a textbook out of this entire thought process, and real compliments to Guru and Narsimhan, who have given their best contribution to make it happen. And Aniket bhai, you have been a person with behind the entire digital learning hub, and you made it possible to get this tool into a reality. And I think this is going to make whole lot of difference. I think the kind of fun and enjoyment which our members are going to go through this journey is going to be immense. It has the entire textual and as well as the briefing which is there, and then you have a question answer session which we are going to discuss going forward. But let me just take it, and VP sir, you have actually read the entire DCMM very well and set the entire tone in a perfect manner. So let me just share the small quick presentation which will give a guidance to all our members who are watching this webinar, and we'll take it forward accordingly. So friends, just I am moving this PPT on other side. Just a moment. One second. Are we able to see the PPT?
Yes, Darwin.
Yeah, so let me just quickly take people so that people through the entire process in a very nutshell manner, which gives them a lot of motivation, and it'll give you a 360-degree overview of the entire thought process which is there behind DCMM. First of all, I congratulate all our members to really have this kind of tool in our institute, which is a landmark tool in the entire accounting profession of the world. So let me just take you through this discussion today. Friends, digital competency maturity model we have been hearing, and Manubhai has set the tone rightly, that when you want to make it a virtual office or remotely operational office, how effective and what thought process can be there. And we are really thankful to our leadership that they have set aside a huge amount for developing tool for SMPs in a very large manner. Friends, the DCMM version 2 comprises of a questionnaire that enable firms to rate their current level of maturity on digital competency, identify areas where competencies are strong or lacking, and to develop a roadmap for achieving a higher level of maturity. What it means is basically it has a beautiful questionnaire which has been there. It has 121 questions which are there, which are having sub questions into it, and the number will increase when you go through that, because we have taken the top lines only, which is 121. This will give you an idea of, once you start rating your firm, when you start putting points against this, which I'm going to discuss in my next slides, you will understand how effectively the things are moving. And this is going to be on a digital platform where you're going to work with it, and the output is going to be shown as if it is, which is the area of improvement we need to look at, and how that can be achieved is there in the implementation guide. So, this entire maturity model has been categorized into 4 parts. If you go back to the old one had a limited approach, which was, combining all things, all services at one place. That was a beginning tool. So it was comprising of everything. But in this particular version 2, we have ensured that we categorize this entire thing, the tool, into 4 aspects. First, which is section A, it is level of automation of firms' internal processes. We are going to have beautiful questions going forward. We are going to pick up those questions from the digital competency maturity model tool itself, and we are going to discuss, but it is going to talk about the internal process which the firm should have. Further is section B, which is availability of qualified resource pool and talent development. When we talk about a resource pool, we might think that we have qualified DSA and we are a resource pool, but no. Once you start answering those questions, you also understand, as a DSA qualified, what are the things which are required. As a firm, what is that we are required. And more importantly, whether we should have an internal person or an external person, that is a choice which is left to us, so that there is a proper guidance which has been given to the firms. It talks about all those things in the part B. Part C, we have ensured that we categorize this into 4 parts, which is a discipline specific. One is audit and assurance. Number 2 is tax and compliance. Number 3 is accounting and support function. other management consultancy tool. If these 4 sections you read, you can really imagine that how your institute has thought about that, rather than combining everything, why not we make specific to every line item, and we give our suggestions accordingly. So that has been taken care very well in this. And the fourth part is with regards to the adoption of emerging technologies. I think today we have close to 2,000 chartered accountants who are trained on blockchain, and there is a lot which is coming in from the RPA side and artificial intelligence side and data analytics side. So there is a lot which is already being done by ICAI, but I think the focus is going to give you a lot of perspective towards what new opportunities and new avenues are going to be there. And a lot of things Manubhai has considered in his presentation with regards to emerging technologies and use of tools and technologies as such. Friends, this is how the maturity model rating happens. If you see, there are the total, we have section 1 is primarily of section references, which is again the discipline specific. Then we have the maximum number of score which can be taken in every line item when we talk about, or every section we talk about. Then we have a rating mechanism which primarily gives you the points and the level in which your firm is sitting. If you see part A, internal processes, this has 169 as a score, total score, because there are multiple questions which are being addressed in that. And the 3 ranges are less than certain number of points, which have taken example in case of audit as a tool. 42 is the maximum score. Less than 9 points means you are a level 1 firm. More than 9 and less than 19 is level 2 firm. And more than 19 is level 3 firm. They are all thoughtfully put questions. Take it from us, we all have implemented this in our firm. We wanted to assess before we share it with our members that whether this tool is effectively working or not. It will make wonders. That's the only thing which I can tell you all. So if you start rating, what does L1, L2 and L3 means in this regard is something which we need to understand. Level 1 firm is basically a firm which is at a nascent stage. One thing which I would like to share with you all people, let us not get worried or afraid about what is the rating going to come. But what is going to happen after this evaluation is, at least you will get a direction in which you need to work. Because this tool specifically talks about if you are having only 9 points, which are the important parameters you need to focus, and it will give you a direction step by step that, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and this is what is need to be done. So that will give you a roadmap, and that roadmap can be completed and implemented in 7 days or a month's time, and you do a reassessment, you will get your answer that yes, the implementation is gone on the right side. When you talk about level 2 firms, it is from example, I'll tell you, it is I'll talk about the level 2 firm has made and progress, but have to fine tune further. We might be using a lot of tools and technologies in our office. We have to think about what is the kind of security option which is there. A lot of questions are going to be discussed, which I'm going to restrict as of now to share. But the fact goes very simple. If I get to know whether I'm sitting in level 1 or level 2, then I can actually evaluate in which direction I need to go forward. Which are those steps which are missing out in my case? Because when the moment I am going to rate my firm, the other things are going to pop up, and that is going to be related to the implementation guide in a very, very clear manner. The level 3 is on the significant adoption. I think any firm which has reached out to that level should be the happiest firm. But again, what are those further things which are required to be done for the next level of optimization and digitization of the firm is also going to be discussed. We are actually working out in a model where, it should not only give you a rating, but it should also give you a direction to move forward in the entire assessment process. So this is which is going to be there in your digital learning hub tool, which is already been launched, which is already been there in the digital learning hub. Directly go access, download, start rating your firm. You will see wonderful results coming out. And these results, one request we have, which we have put it in our DCMM learning booklet also, that this rating should not be used for any other purposes in your profiles or any other thing, because that is not for them. It is a self-assessment tool. Please note, it is a self-assessment tool. And then This will give you an comfort with regards to what is the digitization effort which your firm has taken. So with this, I can only tell you, friends, there is a great amount of effort, and we are requesting you, if you have any suggestions, give us constructive suggestions which can be incorporated in the going forward model, and we can take it forward. So with this, I would like to request the chairman to take it forward from here. And thank you very much, President Sir and Manu.
Thank you, Deabhai. Thank you. Well, I think your message was loud and clear. The digital competency maturity model is a self-evaluation model, not to be used for any other purpose other than upgrading or enabling your firm. So, well, Aniket, you've been having a nice time. So the first question here to you, well, Aniket, this digital competency maturity model, first of all, talks of the level of automation of the firm's internal processes. In this, it talks about having a domain name, having an email ID with a domain, a corporate email ID, having social media presence, having a website. Well, what is your take on this? Is everything of this important? And if yes, why?
Thank you very much, Manu Bhai, Honorable President Atulji, Vice President Nihar Bhai, and Deabhai. I think the stone has been set right from the top by the President and everybody else. We are all aware of why the DCMM tool has been there. Now we are getting into the nitty-gritties of the areas that are included in the questionnaire and where your firm must start. And as it is said, the first and most important part of doing anything is having an identity. If you look at the direct transfers that are happening, the DBTs that the government forms about, it happened because Aadhaar was given. That was a recognition of the person. His identity was created by the government and recognized with the Aadhaar number. Similarly, each firm must have a digital identity. The institute gives you an FRN, but now in today's world, when we are talking about virtual firms being able to work remotely, the digital identity of the firm becomes extremely important. And that is where the first point that is in this DCMM 2.0 is that the firm having a website. In this regard, Manu Bhai, I'm happy to share that not just a website that you can do by your own on a domain, but even the institute, through the committee, which is members in practice, there is a portal where you can go and develop your own website. The institute creates it for you. You mention your specialization areas, you upload your own pictures and details about your partners, and it all gets populated. It is there available on the CMP committee's website. It is available, but in addition to that, I can only recommend that in today's day, it is not very costly for you to have your own domain. That is your own website, www.xyz.com. That firm name of yours, which is registered with ICAI, and a similar domain gives you a digital identity. Your domain gets registered. There are multiple tools available. The best part about this DCMM 2.0 is that it not only has questions, but it also has an implementation guide attached to it. And if you look at the implementation guide that is along with this section, we have given multiple options where you can go and register your domain. These are available at throwaway costs of few hundred rupees for a year. And the maintenance of the website also doesn't cost too much. So very critical, Manuji, is to have the domain name, have it registered. In today's world, what is also important is not just being present in physical form, but also being present in the social media. And when we are talking about social media, the first and foremost that we all must consider as firms and as chartered accountants is the code of ethics. So within the boundaries of the code of ethics of the institute, multiple areas can be done. You can have your own digital identity of yourself on platforms such as LinkedIn. I know our members prefer being on Facebook or other common tools, but Twitter and LinkedIn are the forums where professionals are present. And I would request and urge all our members, if they do not have their identities there, please create your own login, your firm's login. Also, there are many of us who can impart technical knowledge, which can be done through YouTube. You can have your YouTube channels. So social media is not just Facebook. There are multiple domains to it. And I'm happy to share that the revised code of ethics, especially the part B, which is going to come out, a lot of changes have been made in terms of enabling the firms to be there in the social media, follow the code of ethics, but at the same time, the code of ethics has realized that you have to be relevant in the era that we are living. The firms are now being sought and found not through physical yellow pages, but through Google, and through online means of search. And therefore, it's critical for us to have a digital identity, a digital presence. Your firm has to be there online. And for that, this is the first section that talks about this presence, Manubhai.
Yes, Aniket, I think very well said. And I would just like to add a few things that you very rightly said. A domain name is something which is required. One thing I would like to add here is that the domain name should be registered in the firm's name. One should take that precaution because that is something very important. Continuity of a firm is there, individual may or may not be there. So to avoid future problems, you have to get it registered in the firm's name, one, and because the name continues for time immemorial. The other thing which Niket, you very rightly mentioned is that having a website and having a social media presence. Again, you very correctly said that the new code of ethics does away with that pull, push, etc., is on in line with the current guidelines. And one more thing which I would like to tell all the viewers here is that you have a website, that's okay, but please ensure that it is regularly updated. Because a website having a content posted in 2015, instead of creating a good image, actually creates a negative sort of image. It's better than not having a website than having a website with a 2015 content. So this is another point which we should actually adhere to. And another thing which we could do through our website, could do through this social media is have webinars, which will basically webinars for our clients. Now, in today's world, we have seen that webinars is the only basis of survival. The whole institute, the whole fraternity is surviving because of these webinars. Similarly, taking a leaf out of this, we could also hold webinars, host it on our firm's YouTube channel, and the clients could see those webinars at their convenience, come to know about the small taxation changes which are happening from time to time. So now, moving to the next step is the operational process automation. What would you like to say about an attendance system in the firm, biometrics, etc.? Is it only for businesses or is it for a chartered accountant firm also? The type of storage, the internal communication, and all those things a firm should be having.
Manuji, thank you very much. Aniket very rightly said, I think the digital identity is the future. Manubhai, when you talk about operational process automation, I think let us go back to one of the foremost fundamental, principle of our profession, which is the confidentiality. Right? Today, all the CA offices, we are having multiple papers and documents, information which is lying on our tables where our staff works. We have articles, we have seniors, we have juniors, and entire papers moving from one side to another side. So the foremost thing which is, I think, required, I think every audit firm has to look into is from a entry point, security which is there. So yes, I think, the digital process with regards to having a biometric is one thing which is very important. But that biometric, I think, if we walk a little extra mile, there are a couple of softwares which are available in the market, which will give you an entire attendance marking system. Apart from that, it will also give you more information with regards to what the work is being done by our articles or staff which has been there in the system. And this, for the purpose of our articles, can be used for the work diary, which we actually have in our act, work diary that need to be maintained. So that will also give you an information what work is being done by your staff. Furthermore, when you talk about a process where you spoke about was with regards to the storage system. Unfortunately, let us agree to certain amount of fact that the care which we need to take with regards to the systems that we need to have requires a lot of cleanliness in a form of hygiene with regards to internal as well as external. And most important part today is, if by any chance any firm is using a pirated version and that pirated version is actually having an impact, then the entire client data which you have worked on, and our offices are primarily a walk-in, walk-out model where our articles come for 1 year, second year they go out. So that becomes a riskier portion with regards to our data management. And today when we talk about data management, that is becoming one of the most crucial thing to handle. So if that is being maintained in a proper server model, I think, which we need not spend. Alternatively, we also have a cloud server model which is available for a very cheap price. So we can think about a model where, we can create a server within the organization with a firewall, which is going to cost a little more. Alternatively, you can go for a cloud-based model, which is going to take care of the entire cybersecurity aspect, and you can develop multiple files in that, the data retrieval, putting it back, year-wise segregation, all these things can be effectively done. Earlier, we used to maintain this entire information in a simple desktop or a laptop which was there. If that get crashed, then we are into a total different problem. Even today, a lot of tools which we buy for tax returns and GST returns and all, if by chance that get impacted, again, there is a different kind of challenge which is there. So if you see from a point of view, whether from coming in to going out, or might be the process system with regards to maintaining the file system in a data server or a cloud environment, it makes a lot of difference and it gives you a lot of comfort. And today, when we are talking about a situation where we are talking about remote office operations, if we are moving towards cloud, if you are going to spend little amount, then automatically you will be always available for your office. That is my suggestion.
Okay. So now one thing which I would like to add here is that you said about that tracking system, etc. Matlab, you basically mean that geotagging also, or the geolocation getting updated. Now, Niket, do you have to add anything onto that? Something, say, about the workflow and documentation system also being incorporated in that tool, or something on those lines?
Definitely, Manoj. So I think Daji set the tone right in terms of the recording of data. But what is also important in this phase is, and yes, there are limitations. Some of our chartered accountants may not have, they have a local server, and because of which there may be challenges. But I look at it in a positive aspect of how you can then, come across these compromises is through these tools that are available. And we were hearing the leaders from the international forum talk about how IFAC by itself has taken up Office 365 license. Now, if you look at the tools that are available within the Office 365, what do you have? You can have a Teams, and I'm not, again, we are not promoting any software. You can have multiple which are available, Indian as well as foreign. But just to take an example and a leaf out of what IFAC CEO mentioned, there can be the Office Microsoft Teams, where internal communication between the entire Office staff becomes easy. There are other chat servers and chat applications available by other vendors also. That makes your entire discussion within the organizations seamless. And especially in the area of COVID-19, when we are working from different offices, it becomes critical. Not only that, even the domain names are provided for mail IDs, and it is very important that we use them, because having an email ID abcd@gmail.com or at hotmail.com and calling yourself abcd at abcandco.com, I think there is a huge difference. The professionalism that goes in front of the clients and everybody else, for a very low cost, you can create that kind of a domain and have email addresses. So yes, I would recommend that you must have your own corporate email, have internal messaging systems, and more importantly, we have heard the term CRM, which is customer relationship management for our clients. But in our case, for our chartered accountant firms, I would like to call it as client relationship management. How can you have the entire client relationship automated from start to the end? That is, when you onboard a client, till the time you finish the services and you give him the receipt, that is his invoice and the receipt, that can all be done through technology. You have a common portal or common system which does that, and that will not only save time, but so many small and medium practitioners actually effectively even miss out invoicing for certain services that they have done because there is no tracking mechanism. They forget that they did this work, and some clients just walk away without making sure that they have been billed for these services. And all of this can be controlled, can be regulated, and more importantly, like Dayabai mentioned, your regulations for articles require you to maintain a need ID. So your timesheets, if they are online, you're complying with that. More importantly, the SQCs, that is the SQC1, requires is a firm level to have certain documentation that can be assured. Your standard on auditing, the most important and critical part is confidentiality, and that can also be assured if you have a encrypted server and your data is secured. So I think if you have such SOPs, such guidelines, your time and work management gets recorded. Your CRM, that is your client relationship management, is done electronically, and your database and everything gets recorded electronically. Your leaves, your payroll, everything is on the computer. I think the entire environment becomes online. It saves time, gives efficiency, and also complies with local laws.
I think Dev wants to add something here.
Yeah, I think Aniket has rightly put that, we should have our SOPs and guidelines in place. And more importantly, with regards to SQC1, which is one of the most critical factor, I think we have missed out, when we are doing peer reviews. In peer reviews, this standard documentation procedures, if they are set and we have the documentation which is available to be given to the peer reviewer, I think it will set a different tone altogether. It will be a fantastic, confidence which is going to be there with the practice unit as such, where, they can say that, look, this is the entire process which is there. That is going to give them a regular guideline, as well as it will support them to get their peer reviews done effectively. So that was
I can
the point.
understand the peer review board chairman advocating for his committee and ensuring that members also stay updated and understand. Well, yes. Okay. So I think out of this section, what we take away is that the automation level of an office, of a reasonably sized office, should be having an attendance system, having a automated payroll system, having mobile devices, etc., which are tracked, having a document management system, a workflow management system, and various HR tools like grievance management system also, wherein the employees can lodge their grievances and they reach the management, and the SOPs and guidelines, and of course, as Aniket very rightly mentioned, customer relationship management system, or a client relationship management system, as he termed it. Because, well, in spite of the fact that we are professionals, it's actually something where we have to maintain the relationship with our client. We have to keep a record of who spoke to him, what was done, when is the next meeting set, and to ensure good quality services rendered to the clients. So this section is discussed in detail in the DCMM version, where I urge all the members to go to read it and try to implement as many things as possible. Everything cannot be done in a day, but slowly and surely it can be done. Moving on to the next part, which is redundancy and continuity. Well, Aniket, what do you like? Would you like to comment on redundancy and continuity, and how is the firm scored on that count?
So, Manuji, I think to understand redundancy, some of our members would have experienced, especially in the last year and the year before, there were certain ransomware attacks that some of our chartered accountant firms also experienced. And the entire data then was stolen or was locked. And when there was certain amount which was to be paid, in fact, even in Bitcoins or other currencies, only then such hackers were unwilling to unlock the data and then provide it back to you. If such situation happens, let's say on the 29th or 30th of September, assuming that is the last day, then it becomes extreme big challenge for us to manage our deadlines, because anyways clients are coming late. Also, what happens is when a lot of people are working together, inadvertently or by mistake, some files may get deleted, and then restoring those files becomes extremely difficult. I think these are day-to-day challenges all our firms would have faced. And how do you resolve that? Well, you can resolve that by two ways. One is having a data backup that can be done on a physical NAS server, or doing a another backup server. You can have a cold site, hot site, but these are all expensive modes. The most easiest mode of having a backup is on the cloud. And what I would recommend all our chartered accountant firms who are listening here today is that you may have your server at a local location, but your backup can be on a different server, physical location, that can be the cloud, because that not only gives you the advantage of being on a different platform, but also physically different location. So if there was a calamity, God forbid, to happen, let's say there was a flood like we are seeing right now in Kolkata, and your office was on the ground floor and everything was to get destroyed, your data will not be destroyed. And redundancy also in terms of the internet connection, Manuji, it's very critical and important that we as chartered accountants have to realize that now it is important and critical for us not just to invest in human resource. We will have to invest in infrastructure. When we go to a hospital, we look at the doctor, but we also look at the CT scan machine, the other equipments that he has for diagnosis. Similarly, for us as chartered accountants, the softwares are important, the IT infrastructure is important, and we will have to, I'm sorry to say it, but start investing. We have tried to avoid this for a lot of time, tried to find free software which are available, but now is the time to have redundancy also in internet. Don't depend on one ISP or internet service provider. Have multiple internet service providers, so that God forbid, if on 30th September at 8 p.m. your internet was to go down, you have a redundancy or another option available. Also, security of the internet is extremely critical. You must always have multiple connections, like I mentioned, and make it available to all employees.
So, well, Aniket, what I get from this is, yes, a backup is essential. And one other good thing that a backup does is that it basically enables you or prompts you to store the files in a proper manner, in a more retrievable manner, because when the backup is taken, you want to retrieve it, it has to be in a systematic manner. This is an automatic fallout of this. And secondly, as you very rightly said, internet connection. Internet probably is the lifeline for chartered accountants today. Neither can you do anything in your office, nor can you upload any document. And just reading today, I read an article that the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Excise has basically enabled WhatsApp responses to notice. It is said that there are 400 million users of WhatsApp in the country, and it is also said that it is the most common platform, so it will allow, and there is an end-to-end encryption in WhatsApp, so it will allow hearings to take place on WhatsApp, and a notice served and a response there is allowed. So even as the income tax is moving forward, the Central Board of Indirect Taxes is also moving forward. So that is why an internet connection, and probably 2 internet connections, are important. Secondly, as you mentioned, that yes, we should get into the habit of spending a bit. It costs a very small amount because we are ready to invest in big machines, but for the software, for the service which we get, the inclination is a bit less. We charge for services, but paying for services is something which we are not very comfortable with. So, well, moving to the next part, which is how to secure your mobile devices and how to ensure data security on those devices. Well, over to Daya to comment. I think Daya is again a redundancy of his connection, or there's some problem. So he'll be rejoining, I think, in a minute or so. So I take this question to Aniket.
Sir, so the usage of mobile devices and laptops, I think very critical here. We have to understand that we are using clients' data, and therefore encryption, which is commonly understood as securing the data, must be applied. Also, what is critical is that if you are giving laptops or mobiles to your employees or articles, please have their policy in place to ensure that the data is secured and they are using it only for official use. Let us remember that it is not just a luxury, but we are actually bound by our standards on auditing to maintain confidentiality of client data. And all articles and chartered accountants who are working in the firm are bound by all the guidelines issued by the institute, especially the standards. So yes, it must be only used for official purposes. Have certain domain policies in place. The data leak protection should always be installed to ensure that you are able to track how these computers are being used. These are very cheap, common solutions available online where you can actually track the usage of computers or other devices that you've given and ensure that no file is moving to unknown sources. Like I gave you the example of at abc.com. If you were to send a file to some other server, which was not your client and not your internal, immediately there can be a track. These softwares are easily available in the market. Similarly, what access has been done to a particular file, and if some abnormal access is used, a user who is not supposed to go, for example, in the tax return file, and he goes into the tax return file, immediately an alarm can come up. So these are all security points available. Please ensure that you have the latest antivirus installed, because virus threats are there real, especially if you're using Microsoft. There has to be the top end antivirus systems installed, and the devices, like I said, you may be doing a bring your device policy, or you may have your own computers. For all of this, it becomes extremely important to have systems and procedures in place.
Okay, so thereby I think you showed us a live example of switching to the second internet which you had available because one internet broke down. So thereby, what's your take on basically a firewall requirement, or how to secure the access into your office and out of your office? And should there be an IT policy? Should there be an internet policy? If yes, what should it contain?
Manuji, the point is very valid with regards to the security aspect and all. What Aniket was saying, I'll just take from there and again give the answer. IT policy undoubtedly has to be there. Now, let us take an example of mobile devices which are there, or might be the laptops or whatever it is there. Some firms are giving their own laptops. Some firms are telling their children to get their own laptop, or might be there are certain other aspects which are there in the entire process when you see the practical aspect of it. But one of the most important aspect which we need to really understand is if the tools and technologies are used. One side, the data server file can be used from the cloud. Second side, certain tools can be used on cloud. Again, which can actually talk to each other, or might be they are independent, but they can be reconciled and they can be put into a right frame of mind. Now, what is happening is when you talk about a server model undoubtedly is always going to be a little costlier. Why I'm talking about server model is with regards to the data protection and firewalls. Firewall has its own cost which is attached, and a continuous monitoring is required to be done. If there is an attack which is there, you need a technology guy who's sitting in your system or your firm, and he should be guiding you the entire thing, or might be one of the partner has to take that responsibility. Rather, if you see if it is a smaller firm, it is better that they move to cloud, where they can actually take care of that entire the cyber security has been taken care well. You need not bother much about the cloud and all those things. So if you look in total, which is in total, when you see a cloud-based server management system, it gives you all the accessible, the audit trails of all the people who have accessed. I'll take one example, whether you talk about Microsoft, Zoho, or something like that, which primarily links your mail ID and your server system also. The moment a person draws a particular information and sends it to some unknown registered email ID, it pops up saying that, this mail has gone outside your system, which was not required to be done. It has been noticing something new. So both these things, and similarly, couple of softwares are there which are embedded. Example, I think Aniket, we were talking the other day over phone. It is 125 rupees per user per month for a Microsoft Office license to be used, which is in cloud. So it is entirely protected. Similar is the case with Zoho, which is giving at 99. Depending upon the size of the firm, they can actually think about how they need to move forward and make it happen. So security policy will depend upon what model you are going to follow, whether it is going to be a server model or a cloud model, and then whether it is your own system or of office system. Because if it is office system, you might not give them to pull out any data and all. You can just disable the pen drives and other drives which are available, and they can directly use getting connected with the cloud. That is how we need to actually structure this entire thing and take things forward. Today, we are unable to completely make it happen to a greater extent, but yes, I think our president has been talking about it very loud and clear that we need to get some policy where our articles and staff can students can buy some laptops at a very discounted price, or might be at a firm level also they can buy laptops and computers at a very cheaper price. So these are all things which are there.
So basically, I think here what is important is we should have a clear-cut internet policy. We should have a clear-cut IT policy in the organization. And once that is there, things will start falling in place. Now, Aniket, what about should the firm also make electronic payments? Should we follow the Modi ji diktat of having all payments done through electronic mode?
So yes, definitely, not just because the Honorable Prime Minister has given a clarion call of digital India and digital payments and having a cashless economy. I think just from the firm's safety perspective, you may have branches, you may have different places where you're doing services. And today, the cost of having a UPI or NEFT transfer is negligible. So I would recommend that please have these enabled, ensure that you are following it in true letter and spirit and taking payments on digital mode, enable that, as well as the payments that you may be making to your vendors. Let's try and use digital formats, digital modes of payment so that we can be in compliance. Manuji, yes. So the short answer will be, let's accept it. That is the future.
Okay, the next section talks about copyrights and licenses. I'll not be asking you that question because we've already discussed most of it. And well, friends, it's a known fact that we should have the licenses. We should basically adhere to the copyrights. We should pay for services. We should respect people because we are professionals and we want our advice to be respected and paid for. So we should do similarly. And secondly, apart from that, the licensed versions are the full versions which have full support from the vendor. You can go back to him, you can ask him a question, you can challenge any bug which you have in your software. But if you are using an unlicensed version, you cannot do that. Plus, slowly but surely, Microsoft and others are catching people with unlicensed softwares, and at that point of time, leaving huge costs and penalties. The next section talks about digital media for communication. Well, I think that is something also which we have discussed to a certain extent, since there's a bit time constraint. So I'm skipping that section also and going to the next part of the DCMM version, which talks about training of staff. Well, Daya, what do you say? How should we approach this training of staff on automation and for other related technical aspects?
Manuji, it is a fantastic question. Rather, I'll tell you one very interesting aspect. I have been listening to many of the practicing firm partners and proprietors that we are not getting that kind of quality articles which used to be there at that point in time. So that point in time was different point in time. I can only tell you one thing. But today, if you see an article who is joining, who is so technologically savvy, honestly, most of the time we let us put our heart and hand together and say that whether we have not learned from them, who's the young blood which is coming into the system. Today, these people might be following certain shortcuts, going to Google Bhagwan, searching out certain things and all. But the fact goes very simple. When you are actually having a tedious software also, these boys and girls are doing a tremendous job. They go explore, they do all ulta pulta, and they come out with some new ideas, whether it is any other tool which has been launched, any other form which has been launched by any government agency. The first person who is going and doing is our staff. I think only thing which we need to do is we need to put them in the right direction. See, the engine and the body has to work together. It is something which we need to understand. In an ambassador engine, we cannot put a Maruti engine and take the car forward very speed. Vice versa also, it is not possible. So the fact goes very simple is, if you have internal capability to train your staff, fantastic. Alternatively, we need to think about going and hiring people from outside who can give them a direction with regards to how the firm has to move forward, what are the things which we need to take, and let us not shy away. Might be our own good friend is there who is doing a practice, or might be a technology guy who can come into the system and actually look into that. The training aspect, I think if you start rating yourself as per the DCMM model, you will understand that every time, till the time we don't go forward, it will come 0, 0, 0. And one fine day you will start, you yourself will go and sit in your training and say that, 1, 1 and 1. So that is where the difference comes from the training part. Yes, it is very much required.
So, Niket, what would you say about the technology qualifications required by our staff? What should the various technology qualifications given by the institute, various available elsewhere? What should our staff do? What are the expectations there?
So, Manuji, I think we have to divide the staff into one, the articles which generally comprise the highest in number and whose expectation we have to deliver the highest amount of work in terms of man hours. Let's please understand that the advanced ITT or the ITT that the institute does, it is not a burden. Don't consider that he's on a paid leave. In fact, the softwares that they are taught there, it may be basics such as Excel or even the ERP tools that are taught there. That is in turn going to help us as chartered accountants and practicing firms to deliver to our clients the audits in high quality. So please ensure that they do that. In addition to that, our chartered accountants at the firm employees should be ISA qualified if, whichever the course the DAB is running. Also, in addition to that, now there is e-learning which is available at the institute's website on Digital Learning Hub, where you can train yourself on Excel, SAP, multiple other courses that we are now enabling on the Digital Learning Hub. So yes, these are extremely critical skills that our chartered accountants and articles and even partners must have. Multiple courses that the DAB is running, and even within the institute it is available. We have excellent state-of-the-art ITT labs. Other thing that I would like to touch upon here, Manuji, is since we are running a little short of time, important aspects of digital etiquettes that we must ensure that our staff is learned. The new generation, next gen articles which are coming in, they are used to what's up, how's you. This is the new terminology of English that they use on WhatsApp, what I used to like to call as WhatsApp English. But when you're sending emails to clients, that digital etiquette must be taught. to your employees and your articles. And there is also a score in the DCMM model for that. Let's try and teach them, because it is not their fault. They have grown up in a generation where they have learned to speak in this English. YOU is not you, U letter is you. But that cannot be in a formal communication or an engagement letter or a management representation letter. So let's try and also spend some time on digital etiquettes, using of these tools that the institute provides, and all the courses that are available.
I have one point.
Thereby, I think we are just running out of time. So I think I'll just wind up by saying the last few things that, well, friends, apart from this, there are many other things in this digital competency and maturity model which you can read, which we can discuss at some other point of time. One thing which I would like to say is that there's a full section devoted to the advanced technologies, where we talk about robotic process automation, we talk about digital analytics, we talk about advanced data analytics, big data analytics, and all those things. It's a very interesting topic, a very interesting field, and it's only that once you get into it, you realize the potential. And I think that all the members and the small and medium practitioners should especially benefit from this model which has been developed. I'm thankful to the President and the Vice President for providing us opportunity in this committee to come out with this, and I really hope that we will be able to enable our firms and make them much better firms, and if not virtual, at least remotely controlled firms. With this, I thank all of you. I think the President has left, I do not know, but well, I think since the President is not there, we will say a very goodbye to all of you. Goodbye to my friends Aniket and Dea. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your thoughts. And thank you to all the viewers of this program.
Thanks to the viewers. And thank you, Manuji. Thank you, President, Vice President.
Thank you all. Thank you all. It was a great experience altogether.